It would appear that the demise of the NBA is not surprisingly greatly exaggerated, but why is this negative narrative continuing to be pushed about the play style, ratings, politics? What is it that's going on here? I'm Trevor Lane. This is the Basketball Bulletin. Make sure you subscribe right here to the channel. So as I said, the rumors of the demise of the NBA clearly exaggerated because look at this. Yeah, ratings have been down on this season, and a lot of people have jumped on that to say that the league shoots too many threes, it's too woke, it's too whatever you want to call it. But look, the Lakers-Celtics averaged 4.61 million viewers on NBA Saturday prime time on ABC, making it the most watched regular season game in 7 years. 7 years, excluding Christmas Day. Now, you know what? Some people may want to cry foul at that they removed Christmas Day from the analysis here, but Christmas Day is its own entity. Most people are off work that day. The ability to snag viewers is just so much higher. Up 92% versus the comparable window. Okay. The game peaked at 5.3 million viewers and was the most watched program in primetime on Saturday. So the downside, of course, is that the game itself didn't wind up being a very good one. The Lakers, their shooting completely disappeared in the third quarter of that game. The Lakers did make a little bit of a comeback. It also featured an injury to LeBron James. So that's certainly not necessarily what you want to see in terms of an exciting game, particularly a game where you've got that many eyeballs on it. You'd love to have a game that really goes down to the wire, that features big highlight reel plays from all the stars involved and all that. And it wasn't quite that. So did the game deliver on the hype? Probably not. Again, we saw a lot of threes attempted, but it was not a very well played game from the Lakers side. Shot poorly, especially in that third quarter, and that probably diminished some of the numbers overall. But the fact that this many people tuned into the game, I think it tells you a lot. I think it tells you a lot about both the uproar over the ratings of the NBA, the politics of the NBA, the play style of the NBA. And really what it tells you is that none of that matters. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. The NBA still has a compelling product. It still has a product that people want to see. Does that mean it's perfect? No, absolutely not. Does not mean the product is perfect. But the NBA has something that people want when they feel like they're able to see something special. And that's what Lakers Celtics is. It's the greatest rivalry in sports, and that's going to get people tuning in for it, particularly when it's Luka and LeBron. And I'll talk more about that in just a moment in terms of the Luka dynamic and what this all says about the NBA, their ratings, and all of that. But people want professional basketball. People want to see the NBA's product. They want to be involved in this sport, whether they're a team first fan, whether they're a player first fan, whether they care more about the trades and transactions and the drama behind the scenes, the play on the court. They just want to look at highlights. They want to watch the entire game. They want to break down film, strategy, X's and O's. There are so many different things that you can be attracted to in today's NBA. And on top of that, I think they actually have a really exciting season going on right now. You take a look at the title race. Look, you go look at our friends over at BetUS. Look at this. Plus 190 for the Boston Celtics, but it's not like they're running away with it. The Oklahoma City Thunder are right there at plus 200. The Cleveland Cavaliers, I think they're getting disrespected a little bit by the betting odds. Some people telling me, no, they're just not really that good. Plus 550 for the Cavs. So you've got real questions about who's going to win. It's not like when Golden State had KD and Steph and Clay and Draymond and all, and there's just, all right, everybody knows how this is going to play out. No, there's some real question marks about how this is all going to work. Then you've got some teams that are really interesting in terms of dark horses here. You've got unfortunately, they're all in the West. You've got the Lakers at plus 1,000. You've got the Warriors at plus 1,400. The Denver Nuggets hanging in there at plus 1,400. You've got some compelling and interesting matchups here come playoff time, featuring some of the biggest stars in the league. And when you look at what's happening around the NBA, it tells you that, yes, people are going to tune in. People are going to want to see this come playoff time. This is going to be exciting. It's LeBron, it's Steph, it's Jokic, Tatum, it's SGA. It's all of these great players that we're going to have an opportunity to see in the postseason. So for everybody that's been piling on the NBA, the numbers actually show, and the narrative around the season itself suggests that they're having a great year. This has really been a fun NBA season. By the way, if you guys want to get in on it, you guys can check out BetUS. Use our code YouTube150. Get 150% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000. But Why are ratings down then? What is going on? Why then are ratings down around the NBA, despite the fact that it's a compelling season? There's interesting things to watch going on. There's, I think, a very interesting title race. There have been a lot of moves made mid-season. Why are NBA ratings down right now? Well, here's the thing. You take a look at this. And right now, according to the Sports Business Journal, NBA viewership is down 5%, but trending up. The NBA's national viewership numbers remain down 5% compared to last season, but the debut of Luka and LeBron has already had a modest impact. So I guess first, let's go there. Yes, the Luka trade to the Lakers has already had an impact. There are people out there with conspiracy theories that this is why the Luka trade occurred, because the NBA wanted the ratings to go back up. And by putting Luka with the Lakers, it would do just that. Not only would it pull in fans to the Lakers, but it would pull in an international audience. And that is indeed happening. Jeannie Buss, Lakers owner, had comments just recently about how she didn't realize how big the worldwide impact would be on Luka. I call BS on that. I'd be shocked if she didn't have that initial thought of, oh my God, we're going to pull in fans from all over the world to a greater degree when we add this international superstar to our team. That it would be insane to not have that thought. But nonetheless, yes, the Luka trade is indeed helping to draw attention to the sport. And part of it was, it's a I remember where I was when type trade. It is a historically shocking trade. And that's obviously going to draw attention. It's going to draw eyeballs to the sport. So that has helped. But then why is NBA viewership still down 5%? Well, I think the real reason why viewership is down, it's not that people aren't watching. It's that people are watching through different ways than ever before. It's that the sport, because of cable, because of television, because of the way everything is all worked in terms of having to buy certain packages for TV and everything. Honestly, I think people are fed up with this. I think people are fed up with it. And now we're getting to a point where we're streaming. It's right back to where we were with cable, where they're starting to package stuff together. And okay, you got to have Amazon Prime, you have to have Hulu, you have to have Disney Plus, you have to have Netflix, you have to have all these different streaming services, and you're right back to paying almost what you're paying, if not more, than with cable. And that was the whole benefit of streaming, of, remember, cutting the cord, was then you could do that and not have to pay so much money every single month to watch what you want to watch. We're not there. Obviously, we are, in fact, slipping backwards right now. So is viewership going to be down? Maybe, because people are finding alternatives ways. Remember, people were cutting the cord even when it was less than ideal to do so, even when it wasn't always convenient to do so, because they were looking to save money. Well, as people are looking to save money, and they're finding it increasingly difficult to watch their favorite NBA team, whether they have to go find them on HBO, on Max, whether they have to go find them on a national TV network, where they have to go find them on League Pass, on the NBA.com app, which isn't always the best. They've got to go through all these different portals to find their team. I think people more and more are resorting to illegal streaming. I would never, ever, ever tell you to do that, but I think that's what more and more people are resorting to. We're also seeing people who are watching more of the highlights from the games, who are not necessarily sitting down. Let's face it, our attention spans are getting shorter. Our people are not sitting down and watching a full 2.5 hour game anymore. It's more difficult for people to do that these days. So people are consuming NBA content in a different way. You look at what the NBA does on X, you look at what they do on Instagram, on all the different social media platforms, and they even dominate the NFL. Why? Because the sport is popular, because people do want to see the NBA. They do. They want to see the sport. Ratings might be down, but that's just because people are consuming the content in a different way, or in a way that isn't showing up in the numbers. So while ratings may be down, I don't think NBA viewership overall or interest in the league is actually down, especially now that LeBron has Luka in LA and you've got that extra draw there. Now, we've also seen complaints about the style of play. And you know what? People are right when they say, oh, the NBA, they shoot so many threes now and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, they absolutely do. They absolutely do shoot a lot of threes. In fact, the Boston Celtics, 48 threes per game. They've got, they're only shooting 90 attempts per game. So more than half of their shots are coming from behind the arc. I believe that's the first time that's ever happened, that a team is taking more than 50% of their shots from three. Our team shooting threes at a historic rate. Absolutely. But why is that happening? Because the skill level is at a level that we've never seen before in the league. Is it because the league is soft? No. It's because guys are more skilled than ever before. Because if you leave guys behind the three-point line, they're going to knock down shots. That's where we're at in the NBA. We're gone are the days of one dude on each team is the designated three-point shooter and everybody else plays in the paint. That's not a thing anymore. Everybody can shoot now. The 7-footers can shoot threes now. And the problem is we get trapped by the fog of nostalgia of looking back and saying, oh, it's not the way it used to be. You're right. It's not. The game is not the way it used to be. It's why these former players get so upset and so critical of today's game and overly negative about it. I think that negativity perpetuates, and then people just keep spouting off the same negative narratives about the league that they're hearing from some of these aging stars. The problem is the game is so different. Go back and watch a game from 20 years ago. It is way different than the way it used to be. It almost looks like you're watching a different sport. And so people see that and they go, oh, this isn't the NBA that I remember. And because just human nature is to respond negatively to things we don't recognize, to things we don't understand. That creates problems with interpersonal relationships and all sorts of things. But because that's the way we're kind of wired, you've got people looking back and going, oh, this isn't the same league. It must be bad. No, it's actually great. Why? Because the skill level is so much higher than the way it used to be. The game is getting better. Players are getting sharper. People say, oh, the NBA is soft because they don't play defense. BS. They play defense. Look at the amount of space they cover over the course of an NBA game, the amount of room that they travel in terms of, and I'm talking about too many steps. I'm talking about defensively, how often players have to fly around. Why? Because if you give guys 2 feet of space, they're raining a three on you and you're losing that game. Defenses have to be locked in all game, every game. Go watch a game from 20 years ago and watch how many guys are just chilling off ball. Just chilling. Jordan's going and doing his thing. Kobe's doing his thing, right? Pulling up for a 15-footer, and 4 other dudes are kind of standing there like, hey, what are you doing after the game? I don't know. You want to go grab a bite to eat? Hell yeah. Right? They don't have to move around it. But now you turn your head for a second, and the dude you're guarding is on the other side of the floor, and he's raining a three. Can't do it anymore. You have to be more locked in defensively. And to me, I think that makes the NBA even more compelling than ever. Why? Because mistakes are punished at a higher rate than ever before. That's the mark of good basketball. When a defense makes a mistake, the offense will recognize it, number one, and number two, will punish them for it. And we're seeing more and more teams capable of doing just that. Similarly, defenses can do the same thing. The offense makes a mistake. The offense gets a little bit unsure of what they're trying to run. Defenses can capitalize on it, and they recognize it so quickly. The reaction speed is so much faster. The processing for NBA teams right now, in terms of reading what's on the floor, it is incredible. You watch guys like Luka, you watch guys like LeBron, you watch Jokic, you watch some of these great passers that recognize exactly what the defense is doing in a split second, and they have the ball firing to all different ends of the floor to open shooters. It's incredible. It's NFL quarterback level stuff, the way these guys are processing the game. So I think there's a lot of excitement in today's game if you know what you're looking for. If you're comparing it to 20 years ago and you're saying, oh man, I miss all those 15-footers, yeah, you're going to be critical of today's NBA. You're going to complain and you're going to find stuff to be negative about. And you're going to say, oh, it's too political, right? Which is something that I haven't even talked about yet and don't necessarily want to, but it's too political. I don't agree with what they said politically, so therefore I have to flip this off because for whatever reason in this day and age, we are completely intolerant of different political beliefs. That's the way things are right now. Oh, somebody said something politically that I don't agree with. That means that person is a bad person. I'm going to flip this off and not pay attention to them. That's where we're at, rather than, actually having conversations about things. So that is another aspect of it. When players, how dare they actually express themselves and explain what they believe, then people are turned off and want to flip the channel. That's, I think, an aspect of it. But clearly, it's not enough to truly diminish NBA viewership. The bottom line, whether you agree with today's play style or not, whether you agree with the politics around the sport or not, whether you agree with the trades and all the things that have happened in the NBA or not, whether you are someone who consumes NBA content the way the NBA wants you to, or if you use, let's call them alternative methods, interest in the NBA remains very high. So again, belief that the NBA is diminishing, is declining, is simply wrong. It's not accurate. We want to run with these negative narratives because negative narratives sell. That's the bottom line, right? It's rage bait. If you are outraged about it, can you believe the NBA did this and rain and blah, 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 blah. And sometimes there's stuff to legitimately be upset about. But let's face it, a lot of it is just getting engagement. It's just getting people to click, getting people to check in. Oh my, this guy's really mad about something. I'd better pay attention. Oh my God, I can't believe the NBA is shooting so many threes. That must be bad because 20 years ago we didn't do that, as though progress never happens, as though we don't move forward as a sport, as though we don't get better and better in terms of our skills, our athleticism, and everything else wrapped up in the NBA. Now, that all of that leads me to this. Number one, the final point here. I need to make a shirt of this. Don't hear what I'm not saying. Don't hear what I'm not saying. I am not saying the NBA is perfect. I am not saying the NBA is the best league it can possibly be right now. And I will never say that. The reason why is because the NBA, much like the United States, much like a lot of things that have had success, it will never be finished. Look at Disneyland, for crying out loud, right? Great example. It will never be finished. It will never be done. Why? Because it can't be. It's a living thing. It's going to have to continue to adjust and to change with years, with time. As society changes, it will always be changing. And so when we look at the NBA right now, are there things that can get better about this league? Are there reasons for constructive criticism? Yes. Hell yes. And there always will be. That will be true 10 years from now. That will be true 50 years from now. There will always be ways to make the NBA better. There will always be things that you could point at and say, this isn't as good as it could be. It will never be a point where we look at it and we say, that's it. It's done. It's perfect. It's all good. Yep, we're good. That will never be the case. So don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm not saying the NBA is perfect. I'm not saying the NBA could not be better. And I will never say that. But this NBA, it's pretty damn good. It's pretty damn good. And the numbers are showing that. The ratings are showing that. But the more important thing, the interest is showing that. If you give people something that they believe is special, like Lakers, Celtics, Luka and LeBron, all that, something to get excited about, people will still watch NBA basketball. People will still care about what's going on in this league. All right. Give me your thoughts in the comments down below. I've ranted long enough here, everybody, but let me know your thoughts on the state of the NBA and why the ratings were so high for Lakers Celtics and what you think that tells us about where things are truly at in this league that seems to be mired in this pool of negativity. Again, give me your thoughts in the comments down below. Until next time, everybody, see ya and stay safe.